Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from HolsingersFlyShop.com. Bringing you another time video. Right now here at the shop while I'm shooting this, it's the beginning of September. We're getting ready to go on steelhead fishing trips. I actually have two of them lined up this year. One to our annual trip to New York, and I'm going to be heading up to Wisconsin, going through the Upper Peninsula, doing a little fishing on Huron and Superior on the tribs up there. So hopefully get into some salmon up there, something different. But my staple for that kind of fishing is egg pattern. So you can see here's one of my fly box loaded up. I got to keep tying, got to get some more for all the trips that I'm taking. But one of the things we want to show off in this video is a new product that I'm taking out this year. It's new at the shop. It's MXD Mini from Flybox, the same people that bring you Eggs to Sea. So this is a product review and a tying lesson. And this is flicker fibers and Eggs to Sea wrapped into a chenille. So it's really cool stuff. It's going to give you it's going to soak up the water like the Eggs to Sea does and give you like almost an egg veil with the flicker fibers. It's also, this product also you can use it to make blobs with if you're familiar with them. But we're going to tie an egg, and I'm actually going to use it for a mop fly. So we're going to tie two flies in this video. One is the egg and two is the MXD mop. And actually, I'm going to give you a little background on the mop. We tied in a bunch of different colors, and here, I'll show you a picture right here of all the different colors we carry it in. So you can see there's lots of options to choose from. But one of the ways we got into fishing a mop, one of the people that come into the shop, Sarah, one of the young girls, she was tying it in white and fishing the white mop fly during August. And here in Pennsylvania, there's a white caterpillar that comes off. And she was doing real well with it. It was imitating that white caterpillar. So it's just another option. It's going to give you lots of motion underwater, and it actually sinks pretty quick. We took it out to the pool here at the shop to sink it just to see how fast it did, to see if it compared to a mop, and it sinks just as fast, if not quicker. So give this stuff a try. Here's another look at the picture of what we'll be tying and the materials I used to tie it. There's hardly any of them today. So here it is. Alright, let's get into tying here. The first one I'm going to tie for you is the egg pattern. This one here I'm tying in the MXD Mini in baby pink. The one I'm going to tie on the vise, just to give you a different color, is fluorescent pink. They're both very nice looking colors. But you can see here how the Eggs to Sea in the bottom of it really shows through, and it's going to take up the water and soak up the water to give it that nice egg look. And then you got lots of these little flicker fibers that stand up to give it a veil look. And this really quick. It's going to be a simple fly. When I tie these things, I tie a whole bunch at a time. Will take 100 pack and sit down and do 100 pack. But I'm just going to start out with the bead in the vise here and 5 wraps of lead. When I'm fishing in New York, this is the way I fish. I fish with I use a Cyclops bead. I don't spend money on a tungsten here. I use a Cyclops bead and about 5 wraps of .025 lead. Reason I do that, the Cyclops fit over the hook really nice. And when I'm up there, I lose a lot, so I'm not losing extra money on tungsten beads. And also, I can use lead split shots up there. The way we fish up there is like high sticking, but we don't use a lot of the Euro-nymph techniques. We will use lead on our line. So I just put lead into the fly and then put split shot on, because different holes call for different situations up there. So all we're going to do is peel a little bit back, get the fibers on the end there, and tie it down on the hook after we start our thread on there. This is 70 denier, use 140, whatever you want. And all we're going to do is wrap this around. And I'm going to try to tease these fibers back. It's kind of hard, but you're not going to get them all for sure. But I'm going to get about 3.5 to 4 wraps on there. And then just tie it off right behind the bead. And that is all that is to this fly. Now, that took me like a minute. I talked more than I tied. So, like I said, if you're doing a whole bunch of them, sit down at the vise, put your beads on, then go through, put all your lead on, and then pop them in the vise, and they fly off the vise, literally. There you can see how quick that was. I'll use a red here just to make a nice little collar. That collar is just a little extra touch. You do or don't need it. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, trim it off and you're done. It's that simple. So let's get into tying the mop now. Right. So let's get this in the vise here and I'll show you what it looks like. Here it is. You can see the nice mop looking silhouette to it. You got the tail giving you a lot of movement back here, just like a mop fly. And it's just a mop in essence, except a different material. It's going to give it a little bit different look underwater. We've sunk it underwater. It looks really good. And it actually sinks real well too. That was one of the things we were testing. We were kind of concerned that it wouldn't sink as fast, and we haven't found that to really be a problem. So let's get into tying it now. The hook I'm using is a Trutta Upside Downy in a size 12. And I like it because of the big hook gap and the pointed up hook. And the bead I'm using is a Hanik Black Matte in a size 3.5. For thread, I'm using 140 denier fluorescent chartreuse. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my thread on right there behind the bead. And I'm going to wrap it up tight up against the bead. And I'm going to put a little ball there. And what that's going to do is that's going to prevent that bead from twisting around on my hook. And why that's an issue is because if your bead rolls around the hook, what's going to happen is your hook's going to ride off to the side. Your hook's not going to ride true. You want it riding straight up and down. By having it riding straight up and down, you're going to hook more fish in the top lip where it's a lot stiffer, and will hold the hook a lot better, or will hold the fish a lot better in the hook, especially with that turned up hook point. So we're going to wrap our thread back to the bend here, and we're going to put on the material. That's the MXD in the fluorescent chartreuse. And I'm going to just peel back some fibers. You can see how I peeled it out and left a couple thread fibers there. And we're just going to tie that down. And we're going to wrap it back to the bend. And then I'm going to bring my thread back there, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a loop in the tail here to make the tail. We're tying this just like a green weenie. So we're just going to loop that down and tie it down with 3 or 4 wraps. I got this maybe a hair long, but it's going to be fine. It's going to give it a lot of motion. And actually some of my mops I tie long, so that's good. And we're just going to make a couple wraps in front and wrap this up to the bend, or up to the bead. Now, we're just going to wrap this forward. Like I said, these are easy flies. Anybody can tie them. And this just proves it. All it is wrapping this chenille on the hook. And I'm trying to, same thing as the egg, I'm trying to tease back the fibers so I don't trap them down. And then I'm going to wrap this pretty tight up against that bead there and tie it off. And I'm just going to make about 3-4 wraps here. There we go. Cut it off. And whip finish. I'm not really concerned about a color on this. If you see my mops in my box, whoops, lost my grip there. If you see my mops in my box, a lot of times I will put a collar on them. This whole thing is kind of like a collar, so I don't really worry about that. I just like to put 2 whip finishes on there, and I like the black bead on here. It kind of like puts a head on the fly, so I prefer the black bead for this one, but you can use whatever color you want. And that's all that's to it. Check out this product. It's a really great product, and see what you can come up with it. Okay, I hope you really enjoyed these 2 simple patterns. Like I said, anybody can tie these. There's nothing to them, and very limited on material. Really, it's just the hook, some lead or a bead, and the material. So actually my dad ties his eggs without beads. He likes to just put weight on them and tie them with beads. I mean without a bead. I actually like the bead. It makes it a little bit smaller, and I actually find myself when I'm fishing up in New York and stuff, if I'm not getting bites, I'll get my scissors out and start trimming them down. So by putting a bead on it, it allows me to start with a smaller egg, and then I can trim down to an even smaller one. So that's a little tip for you there too. If you're out fishing for steelhead and stuff and you're not getting hits, there's a good chance it's because you're fishing too big. So with these eggs, sucker spawn, anything like that, trim them down. And a lot of times that's all you really need to do. But thanks for watching as always, guys. If you need any of this material, if you can't find it anywhere else, you're going to find the MXD Mini here at the shop. So go to our website, look it up, and check out the other colors. And don't forget to pick up some eggs to see too, because that stuff's just killer. On stock trout too. All season long. We have caught all summer long on egg patterns with that eggs to see egg. You just can't beat it. So give that a try. And please take the time to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And like us on Facebook and Instagram. And as always, if you want to reach out to me personally, here's my address right down here at the bottom. It's holsingersflyshop@gmail.com. And if you have any questions that's shop related, if you're looking for some info on some material or something, I can answer them there too. Or you can email Dad at contactus@holsingersflyshop.com, which is right here now. And that'll get you in touch with the shop. If you have anything that needs to go directly through the shop, email it to that. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Until next time, I'm Sean Holsinger.